the KMNN studios, this is the Kids Morning News Network. It's December 18th, 2023, the 352nd day of the year. 13 days left in 2023. That's less than 2 weeks, everybody. Hey, welcome to Kids Morning News Network. This is a shorter version because we lost power here at the KMNN studio this morning, thanks to that big storm blowing through the Northeast. I'll talk about that a little bit later. If you listen closely, you might even be able to hear the rain and the wind in the background here at the studio. Happy National Twin Day. You guys are pretty special. Only 3% of babies born here in the United States are twins. So give your twin a hug or a pat on the back or a handshake or high five or something. And on this day in 1966, way back when, How the Grinch Stole Christmas first aired on TV, based on the Dr. Seuss book you may have read. It's a great Christmas book and a great Christmas movie. So happy birthday to the Grinch. All right, one thing I haven't talked too much about here on KMNN so far is sports. But if you like sports, especially football, today's a big day. 1932, the first NFL playoff championship game happened. So the NFL began in 1920, 103 years ago. And back then, the team with the most wins over the season was the champion. But the 1932 season ended with a tie between the Chicago Bears, you may have heard of them, and the Portsmouth Spartans. You probably have not heard of them. Who were they? They started in Portsmouth, Ohio in 1928 and joined the NFL 2 years later. Now, the Bears and the Spartans had played each other twice during the season, and they tied both of those games. The NFL didn't allow championship games, but because they had these two ties, they had to bend the rules a little bit and see which was better, the Bears or the Spartans. So they had the game in Chicago today, December 18th, 1932, but because there was a blizzard that day, they had to hold it indoors. And this is before you had like Superdomes and inside football stadiums. So they had to play it on a field. Normally a football field is 100 yards. The field they played on was only 80. So every time they got near the end zone, they had to move the ball back to make up for those extra yards. And they were playing on concrete. Ouch. But good news, there had been a circus in this place the week before, so they had bark all over the floor. Yep, bark. That's wood. Downside is the whole place smelled like elephant poo. It was so bad, one of the Bears players threw up on the field. Yes, he did. But in spite of that, the Bears won. They were the champions in 1932, and people really liked having the extra game. So ever since then, the NFL has had a championship game every year. It's called the Super Bowl. And the Spartans, well, you don't hear of them anymore because a couple of years later, they moved out of Portsmouth, Ohio to Detroit. Became the Detroit Lions. All right, so riddle time. Friday's riddle was, I have cities but no houses. I have mountains but no trees. I have water, but I don't have fish. What am I? It's a map. So it does show cities, it does show mountains, it does show water. But not physically, it's just a picture. Okay, Monday's riddle, we're back to Easy Street. A riddle a day, they get harder as the week goes along. Today, what tastes better than it smells? What tastes better than it smells? All right, answer tomorrow. All right, the weather today, like I said, the Northeast is still feeling the effects of that big storm blowing through. Be careful, everybody. If you see anything that's flooded, stay away. If you see any power lines down, stay away from those too. Very, very dangerous. There's also some rain and wind moving into the west coast today, so if you're out there, same thing applies. And it looks like a big blast of winter weather coming through the Midwest, so you may want to bundle up. Temperatures are in the 70s if you live in the southern part of the country today. 40s and 50s a lot of the other places, but Minnesota and Wisconsin, you guys are going to be cold. Below freezing. Bundle up, but you're used to that. All right, so that's it. Short version of KMNN today. I'll be back with more tomorrow. This is Alex, signing off.